This is FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. Get ready for the latest in film news, TV show news, and theatrical reviews. FilmBook's podcast starts now.
Hello everyone, welcome to FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. My name is Chris Banks. If you're tuning into FilmBookCast for the first time, welcome. What I do on this podcast is discuss the latest film and TV show news. I also review an in-theater film. You can find more about FilmBookCast on film-book.com by using the search term FilmBookCast. You can also email us at podcast@film-book.com with FilmBookCast in the subject line. Let's jump right into it this week.
The Hollywood Reporter reported this week that Salma Hayek has officially replaced Westworld star Thandoi Newton as the female lead of Magic Mike's Last Dance, the third installment of the Magic Mike franchise. It's being created for HBO Max based on a screenplay written by Reed Carolyn. Magic Mike 3 will be directed by Steven Soderbergh, and plot details are really being kept under wraps, but we'll keep up with news as it's exciting that Salma Hayek will be in this film. Some more exciting film news from this week. Fresh off of her extremely good performance in Spencer, Kristen Stewart is set to play the lead in a romantic thriller titled Love Lies Bleeding. It'll be directed by Rose Glass, who also directed Saint Maud. A24 will be producing the film. The film is said to be about a romance fueled by ego, desire, and the American dream. Kristen will be playing the protected lover of a female bodyguard. Very exciting news. We'll keep up with news about Love Lies Bleeding as they start production. The last bit of film news we'll talk about this week is some exciting news for people like me and fans of everything that A24 does. It seems like Adam Sandler and the Safdie brothers are teaming up again for an unknown project. But Uncut Gems, their latest pairing, was 2019's most well-regarded films. And according to IndieWire this week, Sandler and the Safdies are already cooking up another project. What remains unclear is what exactly it is, as the Safdies are currently working with Nathan Fielder on a spooky comedy for Showtime called The Curse, starring Emma Stone. So we'll keep up with news if anything breaks about what the Safdie brothers and Sandler are going to team up with in the future, but that's it for movie news for this week. This week in TV news, for fans of The Witcher, Season 3 is currently in production, and Netflix released this week that we're going to welcome a lot of new cast members. The Witcher Season 3, their cast is getting even bigger, with the additions of Robbie Amell, Menger Zhang, Hugh Skinner, and Christel Elwyn. As fans of The Witcher know, it's an epic tale of fate and family. It centers around a solitary monster hunter, Geralt of Rivia, a powerful sorceress, Yennefer, and a young Cintrian princess, Ciri, as they learn to navigate the increasingly volatile continent together. Exciting news for fans of The Witcher. Some more TV news from this week. Anybody excited for the upcoming Ted series on Peacock? Seth MacFarlane is set to do essentially everything on this upcoming comedy series based before the events of the first two Ted films. MacFarlane will star, direct, write, co-showrun, and executive produced all the episodes. It's 1993, and Ted the Bear's moment of fame has passed, leaving him living with his best friend, 16-year-old John Bennett, who lives in a working-class Boston home with his parents and cousin. Ted may not be the best influence on John, but when it comes right down to it, his willingness to go out on a limb to help his friend and his family. The first two Ted films grossed close to $750 million worldwide. Ted is the highest-grossing original R-rated comedy film of all time, and we can't wait to see what MacFarlane does with this upcoming Ted TV series for Peacock. The last bit of TV news we'll check out this week. According to Variety, Golden Globe nominee and face who is on basically every platform right now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has officially signed on to join Natasha Lyonne in Peacock's forthcoming mystery drama titled Poker Face. It's going to be directed by Ron Johnson. It's a 10-episode series written and directed by Johnson, and the series will be told through a procedural format featuring Lyonne's character taking on different murder cases in each episode. Of course, fans of Star Wars The Last Jedi remembers that Joseph Gordon-Levitt worked with Ron Johnson back then, as well as 2005's Brick. You currently see Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Showtime's series Super Pumped: The Battle for Uber, so Joseph Gordon-Levitt is keeping very busy. That's it for TV news from this week. Let's switch up gears and check out some news from the international market this week. In Ireland, Millie Brady and Pollyanna McIntosh will star in an Irish horror thriller titled Double Blind. Epic Pictures is producing the film, and it's written by Durrach Magarill, and it follows 7 strangers taking part in a paid drug trial who become trapped in the lab after side effects of a study escalate the situation into a nightmarish scenario. If they fall asleep, they die. The film is now shooting in Ireland, and it'll debut at the Cannes Film Festival. Some more news from the British market this week is the BBC and Paramount Plus's upcoming series The Gold has set the cast for the new drama. It began filming this month in London, and it's going to star Hugh Bonneville, Jack Lowden, Dominic Cooper, Charlotte Spencer, Tom Cullen, Eamon Elliott, Sean Harris, and many others. It's inspired by the true story of the UK's iconic brickmat robbery and the decades-long chain of events that followed. The Gold dramatizes the country's crime of the century across 6 episodes for the BBC One and Paramount Plus. The series will premiere in the UK on BBC One and then be made available on Paramount Plus in the US. We'll keep up with news about The Gold, about premiere dates for the US market. That's it for international film. Now let's check out some DVD home releases from this week. Spider-Man No Way Home is now available on DVD. Peter Parker has always lived a life of constant balance. Masking his identity as his true Spider-Man was never an easy feat for Peter, but necessary to protect the ones he loves. However, his balancing act comes to a crashing end when he is publicly unmasked and identified as the Spider-Man. His public reveal leads to serious consequences for enemies and friends alike. The stakes have never been higher for Peter as he must decide on how to go forward as Spider-Man. When he seeks assistance from the trusted Doctor Strange, Peter must make difficult decisions. Spider-Man No Way Home is now available on DVD. Come On is now available on DVD. While alone in Detroit and needing connection, a traveling radio journalist, Johnny, decides to reach out to his sister, Viv, after a year of estrangement following their mother's death. Their mother had dementia, and the siblings had disagreed about the appropriate way to treat and comfort her during her final days. While catching up, Viv asks her brother if she could help her by taking her 9-year-old son Jesse for a few days. Her ex-husband suffers from a severe bipolar-related mental illness. They too have been estranged for some time, but he needs her help. Since she lives in Oakland, she would otherwise need to relocate temporarily to Los Angeles and take Jesse along with her. Johnny agrees to help and even decides to take Jesse with him on road trips when he interviews teens about their hopes and dreams for the future. Yet Jesse has issues and a difficult personality that grates on Johnny's nerves. As uncle and nephew learn more about each other every day, they find themselves questioning the meaning of family and their place in each other's lives and the world. Come On is now available on DVD. Last Looks is now available on DVD. For cops, there's nothing worse than having to retire in disgrace. Sometimes the pressure can be just too much, and for one man, the only obvious solution for his despair is to move into a remote area in the woods. It's not long, however, before his past catches up with him and he's hired by a private investigator to look into a murder, quickly realizing that all is not what he seems, that all is not what it seems to be. Last Looks is now available on DVD. That's it for home releases from this week. Alright, let's switch up gears and check out some film trailers that came out this week. The official trailer for Crimes of the Future was released this week, starring Viggo Mortensen, Kristen Stewart, and many others. It's written and directed by David Cronenberg, and in the film, as the human species adapts to a synthetic environment, the body undergoes new transformations and mutations. With his partner Caprice Saul Tensner and a celebrity performance artist, publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in an avant-garde performance. Timlin, an investigator from the National Organ Registry, obsessively tracks their movements, which is when a mysterious group is revealed. Their mission? To use Soul's notoriety to shed light on the next phase of human evolution. Crimes of the Future will debut this upcoming Cannes Film Festival, and check out the trailer, it looks really interesting. No word yet on a release date. Another fun trailer that came out this week is a film titled Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. It'll be in theaters July 15th. It stars a whole bunch of people: Michael Cera, Ricky Gervais, Gabriel Iglesias, Samuel L. Jackson. A hard-on-his-luck hound finds himself in a town full of cats who needs a hero to defend them from a ruthless villain. With help from a reluctant teacher, our underdog must assume the role of a town samurai and team up with the villagers to save the day. Also starring Mel Brooks, Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank will be in theaters July 15th. Check out the trailer. The last movie trailer we'll check out this week is a film titled The Banquet. It stars Sienna Gilroy, Jessica Alexander, Ruby Stokes, Lindsay Duncan. A widowed mother is radically tested when her teenage daughter experiences a profound enlightenment and insists that her body is no longer her own, but in service to a higher power. Bound to her newfound faith, Betsy refuses to eat but loses no weight. In an agonizing dilemma torn between love and fear, Holly is forced to confront the boundaries of her own beliefs. A Banquet will be on Shudder May 26th. Check out the trailer now. That's it for movie trailers for this week. This week in TV trailers, Netflix released the trailer for the upcoming highly anticipated series. It's a remake of The Lincoln Lawyer. It's based on Michael Connelly's best-selling crime novel, and all 10 episodes will be available for streaming May 13th. It's the first season of The Lincoln Lawyer, and it stars Manuel Garcia Ruffalo, Neve Campbell, and many, many others. When his former law partner is killed, Mickey Haler is left to take over the firm, including a high-profile murder trial. With the biggest case he's ever had to tackle out of his back seat of his Lincoln town car, Mickey discovers that there may be more at stake than he thought. The series is created, written, and executive produced by David E. Kelly and Ted Humphrey. Check out the trailer for The Lincoln Lawyer. All 10 episodes will be released May 13th. Another exciting TV trailer that Hulu released this week is an upcoming series titled Candy, starring Jessica Biel as an axe murderer. The series is a 5-night event that'll start streaming on May 9th, leading up to the finale on May 13th. In the trailer, it highlights Candy Montgomery's role in the community and her friendship with Betty Gore. It teases how a suburban wife turns into an unlikely killer as she tries her best to cover up her crime. Candy is written by Robin Veith and Michael Uppendahl directed the pilot. It stars Jessica Biel, Timothy Simmons, Melanie Linsky, Pablo Schreiber, and Raul Esparza. Candy Montgomery is a 1980 housewife and mother who did everything right. Good husband, 2 kids, nice house, even the careful planning and execution of transgressions. But when the pressure of conformity builds within her, her actions scream for just a bit of freedom, with deadly results. Check out the trailer for Candy. It'll debut on Hulu May 9th. The last TV trailer we'll check out this week comes from Peacock, and it's the Season 2 trailer for the forthcoming return of the hit musical comedy series Girls 5 Eva. It's scheduled to make its debut Thursday, May 5th, and the trailer features a hilarious, the girls are back, they finally get to work on their comeback album, and it highlights the hectic recording process as well as the group's efforts to boost listenership. Check out the trailer for the upcoming second season of Girls 5 Eva. It'll debut on Peacock May 5th.
That's it for TV trailers.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of FilmBookCast. You can find more of my work on film-book.com. Just search for Chris Banks or FilmBookCast. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at CBanksy. That's S-E-E Banksy. I'm also on Instagram at @TheChrisBanks. If you listen to this podcast on iTunes or another podcast service, please rate and review this episode. If you're listening to this podcast on our YouTube channel, FilmBook Podcast, please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment in the comment section. It really helps other people discover our podcast. Please also consider becoming one of our patrons on Patreon at patreon.com/filmbook. Your support really helps us create more engaging content. You'll find our Patreon link below in the description. If you want to tweet about this podcast, just use the hashtag FilmBookCast. Tune in next week for the next episode of the FilmBookCast. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you then.